I would say September. I can't get it's just like with no fans and there's not a lot at stake yet. I won't get into baseball, but we have to talk about the NBA playoffs because when I do my show, I look at level of importance when it comes to sports. And the level of importance is in the NBA because it's the NBA playoffs right now. And I want to talk about the Mavericks and the Clippers. That was a great game. The Clippers are up 21. Porzingis is not playing. I'm thinking, well, okay, this is over. Clippers are going to win in 5. They're going to push. And they haven't – I said I was wrong. I said the Clippers are going to push and shove Luka and Porzingis around. Obviously, it's not happening with Luka. So Porzingis is injured, and they make an incredible comeback. They storm back. Luka just wills. He imposes will. This is what I like about this kid because there's intangibles when it comes to the NBA. This is what I like about this kid. They come back. They take an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter, but then Lou Williams and Kawhi Leonard do what they do best. And Reggie Jackson made some good hustle plays. There's this one hustle play where he throws the ball inbounds. Kawhi Leonard catches, hits a 3. They cut to 2. They end up tying the game. It goes overtime. Now, this is where it was a great game to begin with. But this is where it becomes a really, really, really great game. In overtime, it was back and forth. And then Trey Burke made a big shot to give them a 127 lead. And this is where Dallas is winning. But then Lou Williams had a great game, came back and scored on a layup. And a lot of times Dallas gave too many layups, but they still figured out a way to win. Lou Williams hits 2 free throws. They're up by 2. Doncic makes this beautiful floating bank shot layup. He's very good at taking his time on the drive, using his strength, and using the momentum of his defender against him as his defender is using his feet to try to draw the charge. But Luka kind of gives you that little hesitation move. Then he banks it off the glass. He's really good at that. He's very crafty and savvy with that. So it's 130-130. It's tied up. And then they get a stop. Luka Doncic drives in for another great scoop layup. He just wore Reggie. What he does with bigger players, he takes the hesitation step to take their shot blocking away. With smaller plays, he overwhelms them with a little spin move. He did that. 132-130. Now, this is where I thought Dallas lost the game, and they didn't, and they got away with it. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is on Kawhi, played him well. Kawhi drives, does a little spin. He does what he's going to do, a little turnaround the lane. Gilchrist is on him. If he hits a tough shot over Gilchrist, fine, we're going to second overtime. What Cleaver on Dallas failed to do is close out on Morris. He's in no man's land. He's just staring out in space. So Kawhi Leonard was smart enough to kick it out to Markieff Morris. Bam! 3-point shot. And the Clippers are up 1 with 19 seconds left. After a foul, the Clippers had to give us 3 seconds left. Now, before the end of the game, they goofed it up, the Mavericks. But this time, Luka got Reggie Jackson caught on a switch, so Kawhi's not defending him, so he could shoot over Reggie Jackson. Does a little step back. He loves that little corner 3. It's a long 3. As Mike Green would say, bang, bang. And the Dallas Mavericks win. They tie the series up. And they could have been up 3-1 if Porzingis didn't get kicked out of game 1. They have outplayed the Clippers. The Clippers had one good game in game 3. They had a couple good halves in this game, but Dallas just took it. And I'm going to tell you something. Luka Doncic had 40 points. This is what I love about Luka Doncic. He had 40 points, and he had 17 rebounds and 13 assists. That's a serious triple-double. And what I liked about his game was beyond the triple-double. Because I saw in one movie, missed a shot, grabbed his own rebound, scored. That's telling you he is imposing his will, and he is cooking whoever's on him. Patrick Beverley's not playing, but game 1, Patrick Beverley's on him. He went right around him. He's scoring pretty good on Leonard. He's going right around. He's tearing George up. I'm going to get to George in a minute. And all the other defenders just can't deal with him because he's smart, he's crafty, he knows how to set his defenders up. His experience in Europe playing as a kid, younger kid, helped him a lot. He's got good experience. I love him. Big time fan of this guy. He plays pretty good defense. He imposes well. The problem with the Clippers, a couple problems with the Clippers. Beverly's out. They could use another guy that could defend the perimeter because Burke is getting off and he's getting help. Finney Smith will hit a shot. Hardaway's a solid role player. He makes those shots. So Luka's getting help because he had 13 assists. So guys are contributing. The problem with the Clippers is Montrezl Harrell's minutes because he just got back in the bubble, so you don't have that force as much. Paul George is terrible. It's been Paul George. And I do not feel sorry for Paul George. This is why I don't feel sorry for Paul George. Paul George was making fun of Damian Lillard, just making fun of doing Dame time, and you're terrible under. They beat the Portland without him and Beverly, and they're both clowning Damian Lillard, which they shouldn't have. I'm going to tell you why they shouldn't have. They're talking about his Dame time. Yeah, I know they were mad that Damian Lillard sent them both home with game-winning playoff shots. But if you don't have a championship ring and you have had first-round failures and now you have a reputation for not coming through in the clutch. I saw Joe Ingles for Utah destroy him one playoff series. Joe Ingles is a good player. And you're talking trash, you need to shut up. And he was 4 of 17 yesterday. He had 9 points, did nothing. 1 of 7 from 3. And he's getting, and you need Paul George. If Paul George comes to play, the Clippers will probably win the series. But is he? It's in his head. And he's not defending like he used to because he's thinking. He's thinking about not playing well. And it's costing the Clippers, and it could cost them. And it's something about the Clippers I watched all year, led by Patrick Beverly. There's this aura of overconfidence that's in this group. Like they've got already, they're the defending champions. Kawhi Leonard's a defending champion on Toronto. And that's what hurt the Clippers. And the Clippers, they need Paul George if they're going to get out of the series. Because if Dallas gets the next game, they're confident. And they believe that. They said before the series, we can beat the Clippers. I didn't believe them. I kind of believe them now. The other LA team, the Lakers, beat the Portland Trailblazers. It was Portland was leading. Portland was kind of playing their game in the first half. But LA, this is what I thought LA was going to win. They cut the deficit to 4 before the half. And what happened is the Lakers started playing bigger. And they imposed their will with their size. And then when they did that game 2, and now the threes are getting contested harder. And it showed by the way, if you look at Dame Lillard's percentage, he was 5 of 11. You can't have that when you're shooting 3. Dame is too good a shooter. He's 8 of 20. And McCullough was 4 of 12. So what LA just went harder as far as their defense. And then Nurkic was he looked tired, and Whiteside was okay. But their bench, Trent only gave him 6. And without Collins, one of their best bench players, they're hurting. And now they look fatigue started to set in. And LA's just started playing bigger in the second half. And what LeBron did, he put his nose down, went to the basket. And he's good when it comes to that. And then AD played a lot more aggressive. So you got LeBron James at 38 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. And Davis with 29, 11, and 8, and 3 blocks. That's your stars are stars, and they both played well together. So that helps. But what was big, I think, is Pope, 13 points, and he hits threes. Green hit 2 threes. Caruso is just a solid player. Caruso's a glue guy. He comes in there and does. Every championship team needs one of those dudes, those John Paxsons, those Danny Ainge, those Michael Cooper type guys that Shane Battier for the Heat. Those type of guys that are glue guys that come through under pressure. And you know, Dwight Howard, I noticed something about Dwight Howard this year. He's very good at catching and slamming. Caruso on the drive, they run the curl for Caruso. He drives in and he throws up the lob. Howard bangs it home with a dunk. McGee does that. And LA's good at those lobs. LeBron will come downhill on screen, lob it up to either AD or McGee or Howard, and that's part of the offense. Or what LeBron does is kick it out to Pope, and that's where Pope and Green have to hit their shots. If they do, LA's going to be in good shape because their defense was solid, and they played a good. And Portland, they need to win tonight. If they win tonight and they get to 7 with Dame with Game 7, and it's a close fourth quarter game, you don't want that. So what LA wants to do, they want to get Portland out of there. They want to win tonight and try to get it out in 5 or 6 at worst, so you don't have to deal with that because they're the deeper team. Now, let's get to the Eastern – no, let's finish the Western Conference. The Rockets and Thunder. The Thunder played a lot smarter. They won. They were down 2-0. I thought Gilgeous-Alexander was solid. Made some turnovers, but he's solid. Gave him 23. Schroeder was a lot better, 29 points. Because Schroeder was shaky the first 2 games. I don't like the way he was turning the ball over in the first 2. He was very good. Turned 29 points in this game. And Chris Paul is a little more aggressive. Hit that big step back to put the game away and allowed the Oklahoma City Thunder to win 119-107. And now the Eastern Conference. The 76ers got swept by the the Celtics in 4 games. It was Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. And you're going to get a little Marcus Smart, and Theus giving you the grunt work, but it was Walker, Brown, and Tatum just wearing out the Sixers. And Embiid didn't have a lot of help. They let Jimmy Butler go. I watched the podcast with Jimmy Butler talking about why he left Philly. I didn't know Philly was that much of a mess. After listening to him talk about the stuff that went on last year, the Sixers have to make a key trade here and there to try to keep their championship hopes for the incoming future alive. The Celtics don't play the Raptors. The Raptors destroyed the Nets. The Nets are shorthanded. Watch out for the Nets next year with Dinwiddie, Kyrie, and Durant coming back. If Durant is healthy off his Achilles, watch out for the Nets. Serious. But Toronto did what they had to do. And this is what I love about Toronto. Their sum is better than their parts. Their chemistry is as good as you can get. Winning the championship gave them the confidence, and they're still hungry. They're hungry like they haven't won yet. That's what I love about this team. Siakam at 26. Van Fleet is coming in his own 22. Oh, that's game 3. Let's go to game 4. I'm gonna tell you, when we see these game 4 stats, this is what I love about the Raptors. They won 150-122, 150 points. Whew. Siakam had 20. And Gasol had 9, and Van Fleet had 9, and Kyle Lowry had 2. This is what makes Toronto dangerous. Norman Powell had 29 points, and he is one of the most toughest, other than Lou Williams, he's one of the best role bench players in the entire NBA. And he could flat out shoot 5 of 9 from 3. Ibaka was 3 of 3 from the 3. He was on fire. He had 27 points. Davis had 14 points. So they're playing great, and they play great team defense. It's like a hand that fits a glove. They play great team offense. Nick Nurse is well deserving of the Coach of the Year. Outstanding coaching job. They're running up against Boston. The only way Boston beats Toronto, I got Toronto winning in 7. And I'm saying that I have confidence that Toronto get to the finals, but do not sleep on the Boston Celtics at all. With Jaylen Brown and Tatum. And it's not that you defend the Raptors. You have to defend their scheme, because it could be 5 or 6 different guys getting high marks as far as scoring. So what they have to do is their coaching staff is going to have to devise a scheme that slows them down. And, of course, Kemba, you want it in the fourth quarter with Kemba. Kemba and Lowry is going to be a great matchup. Siakam and Tatum is going to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to that series. The Bucks are going to beat the Magic. They had a hiccup in game 1. They're going to play they're going to play the Miami Heat, because I believe the Miami Heat's going to take care of business, and they shut T.J. Warren down. This is what I love about the Miami Heat. They have incredible synergy with Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero and Adebayo, who I didn't know was that good. He's a playmaker that can score inside, that could shoot, block shots, rebounds, gives them everything they need, which I love about this Heat team. With Duncan Robinson, Doncic is a crafty son of a gun. He had 24 the other day, 5 of 10 from 3. He's a perfect point guard for the playoffs. And then Iguodala comes in there and gives you good contribution. Kelly Olynyk, they're going to give the Bucks a lot of trouble. If they beat the Bucks in the series, it wouldn't surprise me. And of course, you got Spoelstra, who's got 2 rings. He's been there, done that. I don't trust the Bucks. I know the Bucks could beat Miami, but I like Toronto beating the Bucks. I like Toronto coming into the finals. I would not be surprised if the Miami Heat beat the Milwaukee Bucks the way they're playing. And the Bucks have they have trouble at times defending the 3. They defended 2 pretty good with Greek blocking the middle. But if Greek is not on like he was yesterday, he had 3 of 5 from 3. No, 3 of 3 from 3-point range. If he's not hitting like that, it's not going to work. And if you're not good at defending the 3 with Duncan Robinson, and Tyler Hero, and my man, Jimmy Butler, Mr. Clutch. So at the end of the game, who do you trust? The Greek is great, but I trust Butler too. I may trust Butler even more. Butler is a stone cold killer. And Dragic. They have some money basketball players on the Miami Heat. They're going to be a tough out. I don't care who they play. So I like LA to play the Rockets. I don't know. Rockets, if OKC ties the series, and Westbrook might come back sooner. He's out. If OKC ties the series, all bets are off. I'm not sure about the Mavericks and Clippers. I think the Clippers are going to win because I'm assuming Paul George will wake up. And then I think Utah will take care of business when it comes to – I think Utah's going to win in 5. I love how Donovan Mitchell was playing. Donovan Mitchell and Murray were in a war, and it was a great game. It was 117-116 in the fourth quarter. Mitchell hits a layup. Denver's down 1. Donovan Mitchell drives, gets his shot blocked. This is near the end of the fourth quarter with under a minute left. Gets a shot block, and the defender screamed at him, "Get that garbage out of here." Oh, Millsap. It was like, "Get that garbage out of here." I didn't say garbage. Donovan Mitchell gets the ball to inbounds, pops a 3 in Millsap's face, and said, "This is my you-know-what," on the court. And then Utah ended up winning the game and 126-120, and I believe they're going to win. Murray was good, but what happens is Jordan Clarkson is getting them contributions. And Gobert is a perfect 2020 center. He slides to the basket. He's a good roll guy. He rolls to the basket in a crafty where he can score on layups. He's good at defending. He gets the offensive rebound. He doesn't have a whole lot of post moves. He doesn't need it with the way Mitchell and Conley, who came back, can drive the basket, dishes off to him. He's strong inside when he scores. He defends like crazy. Smart defender, doesn't commit a lot of fouls. Utah's like Miami. Utah's going to be a tough out. They can get to the conference finals. All right, that'll about do it. I enjoyed this session. I love to talk about NBA. We'll talk about the Major League Baseball because I'm going to talk about the Dodgers and the Braves and the Yankees and Tampa, how good they're doing. But I'm going to get on the Houston Astros because there should be an asterisk next to that championship. And I'm going to stay on the Astros until Manfred changes his mind. They're going to be my Carol Baskin, if you know about the Tiger King. I'm going to come after that team so hard because I despise what they did. They're the only team. I mean, I'm a Cub fan, so I don't like the Cardinals, but it's not like I just really dislike the Houston Astros and their attitude and the way they go about their business.